Zygot Horizon, a new Zygot IEM that just launched about a month ago, and surprisingly, they haven't announced any new upcoming release for this year. So I think this might be the last one this year. I think. But yes, this one has been getting a little bit of hype recently because it is tuned quite similar to the Sense Top Pro, at least on graph. So some people have been hoping that this is the mini Top Pro, a Top Pro that they can save up and buy. Now in today's video, I'll be reviewing the Horizon, of course, and be doing comparison to the Top Pro and some other more popular Zygot IEMs as well. So let's jump into it. Hey friends, welcome back to a video on TimTune, and I know, it's been a long time, but at this point, it's pretty on brand for my brand to be late. Jumping into the sound now, the Horizon has a bright U-shaped signature with a lot of focus in the air regions and a little bit focus in the sub-bass region, making the Horizon sound very clean, very open. Vocals actually sound very natural on the Horizon, and they sound very well separated from the rest of the frequencies. It kind of gives me this, a bit of Harman kind of vibe. Not really Harman because it's not like thin sounding as Harman, but it gives me that kind of open and well separated vibe that a Harman IEM would give, but without any of the thinness or any of the anemicness that usually comes with Harman. Again, vocals are quite natural sounding. They're very well highlighted without being too boosted or overly glary or anything like that. The treble is quite well done. The lower treble is, I wouldn't say boosted, but it's not really too reduced either. It's a very natural sounding lower treble. So timbre of instruments and vocals has this very smooth transition or smooth decay to it. And this also contributes to an overall feeling of separation between the vocals and the treble elements as well. Onto the air region, this is where the Horizon has a lot of boost. So you're gonna get a lot of those very airy nuances, treble nuances, micro nuances, whatever you wanna say. You get a lot of those qualities, and the tail end of vocals and instruments, the timbre of vocals and instruments have this little bit of digitalness to it as well due to how much boost you get in this area. But I don't find it as like bad or as obvious as something like a Kiwi Ear's Astral. Even though they look very similar on graph, I find the Astral's treble to be quite a bit more obvious than it is on the Horizon. The peakiness on the Astral just kind of nags my ear a bit, and I did knock down points for the Astral in my ranking as well for that reason. But on the Horizon, I find that the treble is a lot. The timbre is not as natural as I would like because of that treble, but it does more good than it detracts from the overall tuning. This much amount of air actually contributes to the Horizon sounding pretty technical. And I know it is a meme that boosting the air region boosts technical performance, but it's been kind of proven time and time again that a lot of listeners perceive it this way. A lot of listeners perceive a boosted air as high technicalities. And when you listen to it, or at least when I listen to it, I do kind of agree. You hear a lot more of those micro nuances, and with how well the lower treble is handled, it doesn't sound crowded, it doesn't sound congested, it doesn't sound overly digital. It just sounds like you get a lot of micro nuances in the treble that's very well separated from the vocals, and that's also very well separated from any bass elements. It just sounds very good, like satisfyingly bright, yet has a lot of naturalness to it to keep it in balance, while still at the same time having enough micro nuances to impress a lot of the treble heads out there. Now on to the bass, and this is one thing and one area that I think some people might be disappointed. It really doesn't have a lot of bass. The sound signature is more towards the upper mid range and the treble air. So you get a lot more of those kind of light, energetic, little micro nuances elements, but you don't really get kind of the rumble, the deep, the rich kind of tonality from the Horizon. Yes, the bass does sound very well defined, and the hits and the attacks are very distinct, and that's something I really appreciate. But at the same time, it doesn't really have that body that some people might seek. Now, again, this is preferential, of course. Some people might like this kind of signature that's a bit more bright, a bit more nuanced, a bit more detailed, but some people who are looking for more richer tones, the Horizon is really not going to be your cup of tea. Moving on to technical performance, I'm going to give the Horizon the Blessing 3 level because it's very well done. It has pretty much everything you want. It has very well separated elements between the bass, the mid-range, and the treble. It has great incisiveness in the bass instruments, again, also in the micro nuances. And speaking of micro nuances, you get a lot of it, while it never really feels congested or overly digital in any way as well. Oh, another thing about the vocals I should say is that if you are into kind of deeper male vocals, they won't sound as deep or as rich as you might like because again, it really doesn't have a lot of the lower frequencies power. But for female vocals, if you like something that's more airy, more lively, more well extended and angelic, you can say, the Horizon does a better job there. Now on to the comparison. The first comparison is with the Top Pro from Sense Manguard. Is the Horizon the mini Top Pro? Well, kind of. In a way, the Horizon shares a lot of similarities to the Top Pro, mainly in the fact that it highlights a lot in the air frequencies. But I think the Top Pro for me, the vocals of the Top Pro comes across a bit more forward, has a bit more glare, a bit more highlight to them, as opposed to the Horizon's more natural take, if you will. And also in the bass, the Top Pro has a bit more bass, so it sounds a bit more well-balanced than the Horizon. The Horizon comes across as an obviously bright U-shape IEM, but that being said, that's really just a tuning difference and a not so big of a difference at that. The technical differences are very minor, and this is where I feel like the Horizon actually play ball with the Top Pro. If you like a bit more of that kind of energetic kind of signature, and you want the technicalities that the Top Pro can offer, although a little bit less, then the Horizon is in that way a mini Top Pro. But if you're looking for Top Pro tuning alongside the technical performance, then it's not really a mini Top Pro. It would need a bit more bass to give it more of that kind of body and a bit more balance that the Top Pro can give. Next is a comparison with the Kiwi Ears Astro. I mentioned a little bit about it during the tuning section of this video, but yes, these two are quite similar. The Astro has a little bit more of that balanced signature overall with a little bit more added bass, while again, the Horizon is an obvious kind of bright U-shaped IEM. These two are very neck and neck in everything, technical performance as well. But the one thing that I like about the Horizon more is that the timbre sounds just a touch better, just a little bit better. It's not as scratchy or as digital as the Astro comes across. And for me, if I were to pick between the two, I would listen to the Horizon over the Astro. That being said though, this is a bit more expensive than the Astro. And for some of you guys that don't have any timbre problems with the Astro, or you guys can tolerate a bit more of the treble singiness than I can do, then the Astro is still a better deal. It's cheaper and everything else basically plays ball with the Horizon. Next, let's compare to the most popular of Seagod IEM, the Seagod Odyssey. Now, the Odyssey is a lot cheaper than the Horizon, and some might say, Timmy, why are you comparing it to the Odyssey? And I would say that Odyssey is, I think, the only Seagod IEM that people are very, very excited about. The other ones like the Luna just have a small cult following. The Crescents kind of didn't really pick up any win, I think. So the Odyssey is probably the most appropriate comparison, because if you guys are looking to buy a Seagod, the Odyssey will come up, right? So the Odyssey for me is still an incredible IEM. You guys know my love for the Odyssey. It has this very kind of sparkly U-shaped meta tuning, if you will, has a lot of treble liveliness and a lot of treble nuances as well, while at the same time not really ruining the timbre, and the bass is also quite thumpy and nice. The vocals are quite natural. Compared with the Horizon, I would say that the Horizon is much more open, much more clean, clear, and it's definitely a different vibe altogether. If you want something that's a bit more, I would say chaotic, a bit more on the fun side, if you will, then the Odyssey is definitely that one. But if you're looking for something more analytical, cleaner in approach, a lot more distinct in attacks of every instrument, then the Horizon is going to be more your speed. And Having said that, of course, that means the Horizon also has better technical performance than the Odyssey. I would say obviously so as well. But yes, you will be paying more for the Horizon, but that's not really the fault of the Horizon, because for me personally, I think the Odyssey is an underpriced IEM. The quality that you get for the price of the Odyssey, absolutely underpriced. I would price the Odyssey myself at around like $300 in terms of quality. So with that said, the Horizon is that appropriately priced IEM. So even though you're paying more, it's still worth the money. Final ranking time, I'm gonna give the Horizon a solid A. Why not? Same grade as the Odyssey and also same grade as the Top Pro. I feel like this play ball with both of those IEMs, and there's not really a big enough difference or a big enough downgrade in any way that I would give it any less, like an A- or something. I don't think it deserved to be put there. So A grade for Horizon with a green thumbs up. I recommend it. Of course, if you tried the Horizon before, leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you guys think of this IEM. And with all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video soon. Peace. Bye.